So my name is Navit, and I am the Learning and Inspiration Coordinator at VideoAsk. If you are here, I'm guessing that you may have already heard of VideoAsk a little bit. Maybe you don't quite know what it's about. So my goal today is that you'll walk away knowing what it is, hopefully be a little bit excited about it, and that you'll feel prepared to create your own first VideoAsk. So if we can go ahead and move on to the next one. I think the first place to start is what the heck is VideoAsk? So if you want to go on to the next one, Grace. On a very basic level, VideoAsk is a video form. So if you're familiar with Typeform or any other form builder, generally when you are asking a question to somebody and trying to collect information from them, that question is in a text format, but not in VideoAsk. With VideoAsk, when you ask somebody a question, you ask them with a video. And a lot of times that video can be you, your face, getting that right out there in front of people. You can also use any other type of video footage, of course. But that's not actually what makes VideoAsk really, really special. What makes it really, really special is that it's also a way, if you want to go next, Grace, it's also a way to have these video conversations with people, both asynchronously and live. So right on this slide, you can see that on the left side, we have Ish, one of our wonderful Typeformers. He submitted some responses to a VideoAsk. And then on the right side, we can see our founder, David, having an asynchronous video conversation with Ish. And so VideoAsk lets you start those conversations with a form and then continue them within the app. And maybe this sounds a little bit confusing. I think the best way to really experiencing something like this is to go through it yourself. So if we're going to go on to the next slide, then what I would ask for those of you in the audience who might have a phone that's handy, I'm going to ask you right now to pull out that phone, scan this QR code, and please go ahead and respond to that VideoAsk that comes up. It's just a quick little quiz that I put together, so you can see what it looks like to reply to a VideoAsk. And for those of you maybe who don't have access to a phone, Grace, if you can go ahead and click that QR code, I believe it should open up the VideoAsk. So as you can see, here's our video prompt. And I don't know if anyone has any good guesses as to where Typeform is from. Grace, maybe you know the correct answer to this. If you want to click the correct one. Hey. I think we kind of gave that away in the intro. And VideoAsk itself, this guy can actually be a good test for you, Grace. How old is VideoAsk? It's about 2 years old, yes. And then this one is really just for fun. You can choose any, I don't know, what is your favorite kind of cheese? All right. And you can go ahead and click that one to finish it up. So that's how you complete a VideoAsk. In some ways, it looks pretty similar to a Typeform for now. But now what I'm actually going to ask is, James, can you switch it over to my screen so I can show you what it looks like when some of those responses roll in? And I'm going to need you to give me a little bit of a shout when it's live on my screen. Okay, I think we're good. So here I can see that a good number of you have answered this quiz, and that's awesome. Thank you so much. So we can see these results sitting in our inbox. I'm going to click through, and I can see all of the answers that folks gave to these prompts. Now, you might notice that all of you are humans, and I know that you aren't, well, you're humans, but you're also a whole lot more than that. The reason that you're all labeled as humans right now is because, and you may have noticed, you didn't submit any contact information. So we don't have any other way of identifying you. So our default then is to call you a human. Now, if I pop into our VideoAsk builder, these are the steps that you just saw. And what I'm going to do is right here, I'm actually going to add in another step. And on this step, we're going to have a contact form. So what I'm going to ask is, if anybody is still filling out this quiz right now, if you do see that contact form, please don't share your private information. This is the internet, so I don't actually want to see that. But I am going to ask Grace to go ahead and fill out that form now so that we can see what it looks like to get a response to a VideoAsk with contact details, but then also with a video response. So the great thing about VideoAsk is that you have these multi-step questions that you can ask folks, get these responses back, and then if somebody has left those contact details, you can go ahead and use this reply button to reply to them. And as I mentioned, because we didn't have those contact details before, that's not enabled quite yet. So once we get this one rolling in from Grace, then I will go ahead and show you what it looks like when that reply option is enabled. Another really cool thing I mentioned earlier in the presentation, that we can use VideoAsk asynchronously or synchronously. So these answer types here are multiple choice answer types. But one of our other answer types is a live call option, which means that somebody could be going through and completing your form. And instead of, say, answering a question with a button like this, they can click a button to start a live call. And that allows you to use VideoAsk, same way you would use Zoom or a video chat in WhatsApp, et cetera, to speak to somebody. So I'm not sure if we're going to see that response from Grace rolling in, because we did have to switch her onto being the MC of the PowerPoint, the slide. Oh, here we go. Yay, awesome. Thank you so much, Grace. So Grace went ahead and replied to that form with the contact form enabled. And you can see she loves mozzarella, and she sent us this awesome video message.
I'm definitely one of those people that thinks cheese makes everything taste better. So any kind of cheese is good for me. But I'd really love to learn more about how VideoAsk is connected to Typeform.
All right, so pardon my weird combination of topics in that quiz, but now that we have her video message, if I go ahead and click this reply button, I can say, hey, Grace, what's up? Thank you so much for your message. We're so excited that you filled out our quiz. And I can tell you that VideoAsk and Typeform are part of the same company. We are two products created from the same brain. And we're just really excited to get to orient you a little bit better with them. All right, so now, James, assuming that we're still going to have some issues with me accessing the presentation, I'm going to ask you to switch back over to Grace's screen so we can look at the presentation there. All right. And let's go ahead and skip forward in the presentation to keep going a little bit more forward. And actually, sorry, go back. I jumped forward in my own presentation. All right, so how does it work when you're building a VideoAsk? So when you are creating that first, actually, did we? Yeah, okay, sorry everyone, getting confused because I'm not the one driving here. When you go to create a VideoAsk, which we will do at the end of this presentation, you are going to be prompted to choose your video footage source. So you can record your screen using VideoAsk. You could upload a video that you previously recorded. You could record yourself using your webcam, or you can access something from your media library. The media library includes any videos that you have previously uploaded, as well as thousands of videos in our Pexels library and our Giphy library. So now if you want to go ahead and bump to the next one. Each VideoAsk step has an answer type or an answer prompt. And so if you're familiar with building a type form, this is super, super similar. There's a lot of answer types that we share in common, such as a multiple choice, or, well, soon to be coming in Typeform calendar option. VideoAsk does have 4 different calendar integrations, so that's an awesome answer type to be using. And I did mention earlier that live call option, and we also have the ability to collect payments, and the core of VideoAsk is this open-ended answer type, which allows you to collect responses in video format. So if you want to go ahead and go to the next one. And as you just saw a brief glimpse of earlier, this is our builder, and it's kind of that final step when you're building out a VideoAsk is adding multiple steps and creating whatever type of logic you want. So if we want to go ahead and continue on, then let's cover a little bit of, once you've built your VideoAsk, what can you do with it? So if we want to take a look at what it looks like, you can put a VideoAsk into a lot of different situations, because when you create a VideoAsk, it generates a unique URL, just like a Typeform, which means you can share it and you can really embed it almost anywhere. So if you put it into a text message, as we're seeing here in WhatsApp, then you will see that little meta image and the link that people can open up to go ahead and complete your VideoAsk. If you want to continue on. You can also share VideoAsks on social media. So here, seeing what it looks like on LinkedIn. What it will do is it will drop that link into a message or a post, and it will generate a GIF or again, a meta image to represent the video itself. But at this time, social media is still very, very limited in terms of what other video platforms can offer a true embed on them. So since we're not, unfortunately, quite on the level of YouTube, this isn't a true embed, so people will be clicking out of LinkedIn to actually view it, but they do get that kind of visual and that hook of what it looks like to have a video on social media. And if we want to continue on, You can also put a video ask into the body of any newsletter or email. So here you're seeing me dropping this into a Gmail email. And this is just a little bit of HTML code that you can get directly from VideoAsk. And so again, it generates this meta image of this GIF, which is not a true embed. So people will be taken out of the email client because email clients also do not allow true embeds of videos at this time. But this can be a great way to, get that visual when you want people to perhaps engage with a survey or a poll, etc. Continuing on. So I think the really, like, to me, my favorite way of seeing a video ask out there in the world is to see it on people's websites. So there's two different ways that you can embed a video ask on your website. Here we're going to explore the widget. So Grace, if you want to go ahead and click that, then we can see what this looks like from one of our users who has embedded a video ask on his website as a way of welcoming people to his website. And so basically what he's asking you is like saying, hey, I offer education tools if you are a web designer, and I have different materials that are available to you to help you, spiff up your skills a bit. And he's going to guide you through different materials on his website using that video ask. So if we can go back to the presentation, we can go ahead and look at the other option, which is an iframe embed. So if you happen to see our Typeform Meaningful event earlier this year, you may have already gotten to meet Stanley Tate, who's one of our absolute gems of a user. But he has embedded a video ask on his website. If you want to go ahead and click that iframe option, there we go. He is a student loan lawyer. And so what he uses video ask for is to engage with people the minute they get to his website to help build some trust and to help people understand what he might be able to help them with. And then that guides people through. Actually, he's done an awesome job of connecting a video ask to other video asks or to a Typeform to help people get through that funnel and set up a free consultation with him. So if we can go back to the presentation, then let's go ahead and take a look at a few more examples. So it's unfortunate because I think that what I would love to do is to be able to play all those video asks for you with the sound on, the ones that we just went through. But Stanley Tate and the one that we were looking at a little bit earlier were both really good examples of lead generation, helping the people who are interacting with you get through your funnel using video. So let's take a look at some other ways that you can use a video form. One of the ones that we've seen a ton of traction with is to collect video testimonials. So because we are a video form, both in terms of the prompts that you're giving to people and then that format that you're getting back, this is the end result of what you can get with a video ask, which is a series of video clips that are well framed in terms of the topics that you want people to discuss. So if you want to go ahead and click that, you can see, once we got the opportunity to meet Stanley Tate, we were able to, send out a video ask to him. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and click those, then we can see what that looks like. We get these awesome little clips, which can then be embedded on our website, on a landing page, etc. Because VideoAsk has a number of consent options built in, then we can get the consent from people when they fill out these testimonials, etc. Let's go back to our examples. And if we go ahead and move forward, we can talk a little bit about our awesome integrations. So we are integrated with Zapier, which means that, we're going to talk about a number of different integrations, but if we don't already have the integration that you like to use for the tool that you like to use, then Zapier is an awesome way to connect things. We also are directly integrated with Google Sheets, so you can track any of responses that you get through VideoAsk and have those logged as a new row in Google Sheets. So if you want to go ahead and move ahead. One of the other ways that we've just internally even really enjoyed using VideoAsk is for recruitment. So when you're doing things on video, it offers you a different type of information than what you get with, say, a text response. And it also is obviously a way to engage folks on a way that, say, having a written out job description just doesn't necessarily communicate on the same level. So in this image here, you can see what we have on our own careers page at Typeform, which is an embedded video ask. This is what the iframe embed, having somebody from the product team talking about what it's like to work on the product team at Typeform. And this helps potential applicants understand what is the company culture and would they potentially want to work at Typeform. And it looks like the bogeys have taken over the PowerPoint. And so if you want to go ahead and click that recruitment link there, if it'll let you, maybe. then I would say that, so this is like one side of it, which is to convince people to apply to your job. And this example here is like literally one of my all-time favorite examples of how awesome VideoAsk is. So I think this is probably too small for you to see this on the presentation, but there's a little bit of a dotted line there in the middle. So there's like 3 little clips, there's 2 videos and 1 text. And so everything to the left of that gray line was an application, a job application that Maya submitted to be our first ever video support team member. And I think it was about 8 minutes after she had submitted her application that David, our founder, looked at her application because it was in a video format, was like, this is my person. He sent her a message with a link to his calendar and the overlay text. And then I think 2 minutes later, she had scheduled an interview with him for the following day for a live interview. And so David, you know, he had hundreds of applicants rolling in, and he was able to screen through them in such an efficient manner because he was doing all of this on video. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of our integrations that are useful for recruitment. We got a little bit of a sneak peek earlier. So we are directly integrated with Greenhouse, which means that if you connect your job application to Greenhouse, to a job posting, you will see those applications show up there. And our Lever integration is super, super close. So don't try to connect to it quite yet, but give us a couple more weeks and that should also be live. So let's go ahead and take a look at another use case. Lead generation, we already talked about a little bit, but this is also a really awesome example. So Jason Whitrock is a fitness influencer, and he has had awesome success putting video asks both on his social media and his Linktree on Instagram, and then also embedding us directly. This is like the first thing you see when you get onto his website. And so this is a great way, again, if he's going to be doing, say, fitness courses or coaching, of course, people want to be able to see what is his energy, what's his personality, how does he look, etc. And there's no better way to do this than video. So let's go ahead and take a look at the that example. And here is another option that we use ourselves, which is that you can actually link a video ask. You can embed it with pretty much any sort of object on your website, right? So if you go ahead and click that, get your free book, then you will see it's a button that activates a video ask. So this is one of our advanced embed options. And here, if you play through that video ask, you can get the option of downloading our ebook that talks about lead generation, which I highly recommend. It's got a lot of really great information in it, and I'm sure we can share that link to this page a little bit later on. So if we want to go back to the presentation and take a look at our awesome integrations. So we are also integrated with HubSpot, which I know is a favorite tool for a lot of folks. So we have that integration if you want to, get those leads coming in and track them in HubSpot. We also have an integration I mentioned with 4 different calendars. So that includes HubSpot meetings as well as Calendly, Schedule Once, and Acuity, if that's going to be a useful way to track the appointments as you end up setting them up using VideoAsk. So you want to go ahead and skip to the next one. So sales, because VideoAsk is such a great way of bringing your personality forward. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have this live call option. VideoAsk can be a really powerful way to convert, basically, to make those sales. So here is an example of what we're doing on our own pricing page. So for folks who are interested in our enterprise plans, if they click a link on our pricing page, it activates, once again, a VideoAsk where they can go ahead, submit an inquiry, and then that goes directly to our sales team, which they have connected to Salesforce, and then they can follow up with that lead. So if you want to go ahead and click that sales link, you will also see an example of one of our other customers who we happen to have a integration with as well, Descript, which is a really fabulous video editing tool if you've never used it. So if you go ahead and click that button at the top of the page, then this fires up. Hey, a video ask. So they also use video ask for their enterprise sales because this is such an awesome way to introduce yourself and get those hooks early on. So we want to go ahead and go back to the presentation. And I kind of already mentioned this one, but we do have an integration with Salesforce. So as you get those opportunities rolling in, you can log them there. And this is potentially a slightly different use case. It depends on what you're trying to sell, but we have an integration with Stripe that allows you to collect payments from directly within the video asks. So say if you're selling a coaching session, then you could actually send somebody a video ask where they could purchase more sessions with you and then conduct more of those sessions using VideoAsk. So I'm just going to keep telling you there's so many ways that you can use this tool. But anyways, that's what I'm here for. So continue on. All right, and if you haven't already figured out, Grace is one of my favorite people to highlight. So here is an example of how we are using VideoAsk in our own help center. So if you are running into any issues using your VideoAsk at some point, we have an article on our help center that walks you through using VideoAsks how to self-troubleshoot some of these issues. Another example of how you can use VideoAsk is for customer support itself. So if you want to go ahead and click that customer care option, there's a couple of different ways that we have this set up internally. So I mentioned that we have that in that one article. We also have a widget on our help center that features our human chatbot function. So this is going to be really fun because I'm going to actually ask Grace if she could ask this chatbot, how do you embed a VideoAsk? So you can't hear her, but you can. There we go. If you want to click through to one of those, the iframe embed article, it doesn't really matter which one. But anyways, you didn't quite get to see the full magic of it because you couldn't hear it. But what was happening was that she was asking a question, and using some AI technology, it was matching the transcript of her question with some categories that had been set up for this chatbot to direct her to the appropriate Help Center article for her question. And so now down all the way at the bottom of our articles, we also then, let's say you still have some questions, there is a button that says Video Ask Us. And this is how you can get in touch with our support team. When you do, if you want to go ahead and click that, you'll see actually, if you want to reload, this is, yeah, I noticed this the other day, which we will get fixed, don't worry. But if you go ahead and click that Video Ask Us button, then it allows you to get in touch with our Video Ask support team. Yeah, you can use the one in the footer maybe. And they will respond to you with a video message. So we're essentially using VideoAsk for all of our videos, or for all of our support using video. So this has been something that's been an awesome experiment for us over the past few years. And it's something that we have enjoyed so much that we are continuing to scale it. It's okay if that one's not quite working. You can go ahead and go back to the presentation. So the integrations that we have set up for this, and this is the one that we use internally, we have Zendesk to track all of the tickets that come through VideoAsk support. And then we also have an integration, say if you prefer to use a true chatbot, or if you just love to use Intercom, it's also a wonderful tool. You can insert VideoAsks directly into an Intercom chat. And so, you know, there's a whole lot more information, I guess, on these integrations, and I would highly recommend that you take a look at our Help Center if you'd like to learn more about that. So let's continue on. So now what I'm going to propose is, James, if you don't mind a little swapperoo, let's go ahead and take a look at my screen again, and I will take us through how we can build a VideoAsk from scratch. So when you're in your VideoAsk inbox, obviously it's not going to look quite as crowded as mine, but if we want to say, let's build a new form, you're going to have to choose what folder to add it to if we want. I'm just going to go ahead and choose my root level. And let's say that we want to, say, get some feedback on a product that we have sold to a customer. Let's get some feedback on some beautiful sofas that we've sold. So as I mentioned before, we need to choose our video source. For today, I'm going to go ahead and choose from my library. As you can see, these are all the videos that I've previously uploaded to my account. I can also go through to that Pexels library and choose something from there. And this gives you thousands of just beautiful videos with generally no sound. And yeah, they're just there for your use. So let's say we want to ask them, can you please tell me what product you purchased? Get this started off with just a little bit of clarification in terms of what product we are getting this feedback for. So this is our open-ended answer type, which we will be using a little bit later on. But for this one, we're actually going to go with multiple choice. So let's say they got a green sofa. These are not very creative names, but blue sofa. And pardon my, again, bad typing skills, yellow sofa. All right. So we've got our first step. If we want to, we can give it a title and go ahead and add in another step. So here we have the option of choosing a logic option or creating a branching within our conditional logic, which we're actually going to skip this time because we'll be doing that a little bit later on. So once again, let's choose a beautiful visual from our Pexels library, and we're going to ask, how happy are you with your sofa? All right, and for this one, we want to actually get some feedback. So we're going to say, we'd really like to know on a scale of 0 to 10, how happy are you? So maybe I'm so disappointed. This is for people who just really are not thrilled at all with the product that they ended up getting delivered to their home. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have folks who are crazy about it and they're super, super happy. So if you're familiar with the NPS scale, then you'll know that from a 0 to a 6 is considered a detractor. So people who could end up ultimately kind of damaging your brand. The 7 and the 8 are kind of meh, neutral people, and the 9 and the 10s are the promoters. So let's call this the feedback step. And, oops, sorry about that. So then we have our 2 steps. And now that we know that we have, potentially different types of feedback, let's create some logic. So let's say for the people that weren't very happy, let's find out why. So we want to ask them, like, hey, sorry to hear that you weren't satisfied. What can we do better? I mean, we could obviously word this a bit more creatively, but you get the idea. So here we really want to get that feedback in terms of, we know you're not happy. We really want to make sure that you are ultimately, either there's a way that we can resolve this, or, we know what we did not right on this one, so the next one we can do better. So anyways, we're going to leave this with an open answer, and we can choose what format. So let's say we really wanted to get video feedback. We disable the audio and the text option, and just, prompt people to do video. I think in this situation, it makes sense to leave all 3 options because different respondents have different preferences. And so we're going to kind of repeat that process for the 6s and the 7s. And let's go ahead and choose another thing from the Pexels library, another video, and say, thanks for that feedback. Looks like, we could still improve a bit. Can you please tell us what you thought of your sofa, or something like that? All right, and I'm going to actually make this overlay text a little bit smaller because that was a lot of text. And once again, we're going to leave this with the open-ended answer option. Then the really fun ones are going to be our promoters. Well, actually, let me go ahead and give these steps some titles so we can keep track of them. So I'm blinking a little bit on the technical name for that group. So I'm going to call those neutral, and these are our detractors. And then let's go ahead and hopefully I'm not moving too fast through this for you folks. I know this is probably a lot of moving around on the screen. Our 9s and our 10s. So these are the people who are thrilled with the product and they are going to like actively promote it. They're so happy. Okay, so this is like awesome. So glad to hear it. Would you mind sharing a photo of your sofa in your home? So we know that they're happy. We could also ask for feedback, but in this situation, let's say that we want to get a photo to share on social media. Then what we could do is make this a file upload answer type, and we're going to ask them to upload your photo. This is going to be our promoters. And then as a one final step, let's say that, we've gotten this feedback. We're getting some really good feedback from the people who were really not happy, some people who are kind of in the middle, and then the really happy folks. But before we can share their photo on social media, we need to get some consent. So we have a couple of options here. We can put this as a question itself, or we can use our contact form. So let's go ahead and create one more step, and pardon my random video selection options. Let's see. Thank you. Do you mind if we share this on social media? So as I mentioned, we have a couple of options. We can make this a text open option or open-ended answer type where somebody could just type, yes, that's fine. Alternatively, we could use a button here and say, yes, let's do it, or something along those lines. And then we can enable the contact form for this step. If we go ahead and edit our contact form, what we can do is we could even enable that and disable our other options. So people would just be clicking that consent option, or if we just also wanted to collect their contact information to attribute it to the photo, etc., then we could also do that here. So here I need to actually disable the contact form here. So now if we go through this VideoAsk, we can go through it in the builder, or we can just click this link. And this allows us to complete that VideoAsk. We're going to say, hey, we're so happy, or meh, we're kind of in the middle. And then we have to give the feedback of saying it was okay, but kind of ugly. Oops, pardon. And then that's how you build a VideoAsk. So I think the final thing is going to be to hop back over to the presentation so we can talk a little bit about how you can use VideoAsk and Typeform together. So VideoAsk and Typeform, as I mentioned earlier, are part of the same company, which is a fabulous and wonderful thing. We're not yet fully integrated together. So what I'm going to cover is the ways in which you can use them together. And I'm sure down the line, we'll have some really, really fantastic ways still for you to explore. So let's go ahead and explore that first option. If you want to use a VideoAsk and a Typeform together, and I think it would be really great if we could share the link to Stanley Tate's website a little bit later on so you can see how he's done this, because there's really, awesome and creative ways where you can use kind of the strengths of each format and each option to use the tools together. So if you want to redirect between a VideoAsk and a Typeform, if you're familiar with hidden fields or variables, you can connect the forms and pass information back and forth between them. You can also do it purely for the experience of it. So if you want to go ahead and click that the image there, Grace, then we can see what it looks like to redirect between them. So if you want to go ahead and play that video, this is potentially a workshop that we're selling for interior designers who don't know how to take good care of plants. So after they watch the video, then they have the option of signing up. And so let's say that we want to prompt them to sign up for this workshop using the Typeform. So if you want to go ahead and fill out that Typeform, then we can see what that looks like, because at the end of it, we're actually going to end up finishing with a VideoAsk. So we're starting with a VideoAsk to kind of promote the event. And then we're going to collect the registration with a Typeform. And then we're going to, at the end of it, bring them back to a VideoAsk. And if we pay close attention to the URL, so now at the top, you might be able to see, it's kind of small probably, but in that URL, all that contact information that was entered into the Typeform is now in VideoAsk as well. So now that you have gone ahead and registered for this event, what I'm asking you to do is saying, hey, thank you so much for signing up for our workshop. What I would like for you to do is to record a short introduction of yourself so that the other participants in this workshop can get to know you a little bit better before the actual event. So this is an awesome way, just as an example of how you can use the different products together, just depending on, what you want that experience of folks to be when they're, say, signing up for something or going through your funnel, etc. So let's go back to the presentation and explore the other option of how to use the products together. So this one looks super, super snazzy. This is an example of how we use it internally, which is when we have new people who join Typeform, we get a video introduction of them that goes out to the entire company. And so current employees can go ahead and watch these videos of new people. So they're already a familiar face when they join, which I just absolutely love. But if you want to go ahead and, click that image, we should go ahead and see, this is the same workshop registration, more or less. But instead of redirecting between a VideoAsk and a Typeform, the VideoAsk is directly in the Typeform. One thing to be aware of in this option, you cannot pass information. So if you're collecting contact details, you would need to do it twice if you're using the VideoAsk directly in a Typeform. So you can go through, and if you click play, I believe, well, let's see, you might want to skip ahead, but you should be able to basically sign up for the, yep, there you go. And then it's going to bump you through. So it depends in terms of how you set it up, but you can set up similar flows. It just depends on kind of like what the experience is that you want to give to your respondents. So that's pretty much the main topics I wanted to cover today that I thought would be a good primer in terms of using VideoAsk, but I want to leave enough time for some questions that might be floating around in your brains. So I would love to hear any use case specific questions that you might have. If I went through something that was a little bit too quickly, you would love to know a little bit more about a specific part of the product or one of our integrations, etc. Myself and Grace, we are at your disposal, and we are more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. James, I think you're on mute.
Hello. I think James is still on mute, right?
Yeah, we can start everything though on his behalf.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was basically.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Navit, and thank you, Grace, for manning the stations behind the scenes. Yes, let's dive into the questions for sure. We've had a whole bunch of them come in, so thank you very much, everyone who's submitted a question. Keep them coming. Let's start. You were talking about use case specific stuff, Navit. Here's one that's coming from Karen, who is curious about use cases for consultants or professionals to use it for converting traffic to subscribers, for example, booking a call. What experiences do you have kind of seeing folks using it for this?
That's an awesome question. And I think, Karen, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at the Stanley Tate's website that I mentioned earlier or showed earlier, because that's exactly what he's doing with that. So he's a student loan lawyer, meaning that like his main challenge is to get people to convert in terms of setting up the call. For him, that is the conversion. And the way that he's been able to use VideoAsk is to do a couple of things really. Like one is to build trust the minute somebody gets onto his website. So, you know, they're seeing who is this person behind the website, who is the person who, you know, is going to be my lawyer. It's a pretty important role. And then that first video that you see on his website is just that initial introduction. And then depending on what you click going through the VideoAsk, it actually sends you to another VideoAsk where if you're thinking about setting up a free consultation, he uses that VideoAsk to explain what to expect with that free consultation. And so, you know, in what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes or something, he goes through those basics of like, hey, I'm going to ask you these questions. We're going to move through it pretty quickly. Here's the information I'd like you to bring to that call, etc. So both people feel comfortable with him, with his personality, and also they come with, you know, grounded expectations when they hop on that live call with him. So he, you know, from our conversations with him, he's just found that to be an exceedingly good way, both to build the trust, to make the best use of their time. And then also he's just found that when people then do end up on that call with them, their comments have been like, I feel like I already know you because I saw so much of you on your website, that they just act very natural from the get-go once they're live and speaking to each other. So hopefully that answers your question, but as always, you can follow up with any others that you might have.
Cool, thanks, Navit. Here's another one, another use case specific one. How to use VideoAsk for onboarding new users in B2B SaaS. Do you have you come across this one before?
Well, I feel like maybe this is like somebody from Typeform impersonating Diego, because we use VideoAsk to onboard ourselves, and we are a B2B SaaS company. So yeah, I mean, VideoAsk, because it is this video form and it's got the logic and whatnot, I mean, you can absolutely use it to build quizzes, to, you know, I showed that example a little bit ago of how we use VideoAsk to introduce new team members to current team members. It depends, you know, what part of that onboarding process you want to use VideoAsk for. But especially if you're working in, you know, a remote environment, obviously we're doing a lot of things on video, and you know, Zoom is awesome for certain things, but I think the value that I've really loved with VideoAsk is that asynchronous element allows you to answer questions and submit questions and whatnot, and have that kind of back and forth conversation on a schedule that really suits you and can suit your workflow. So yeah, I would recommend for onboarding. I mean, even if you, let's say you're onboarding a number of different people, you could just create a unique video ask for each one of your team members, send it out to them, and then, you know, use that as a back and forth. Or you can also add people to your team and share that inbox. So if people have questions, other people within your team can answer questions from the new employees, etc. So yeah, there's a ton of different options, and I would definitely recommend that you play around with it. And if you have any cool ways that you end up using it, please do also share them with us.
Quite right. Another one here, Navit, this time regarding kind of payments and Typeform and VideoAsk and how that works. So if someone already has a paid plan with Typeform, do they need to create another account for VideoAsk and subscribe through that?
Grace, you want to answer this one?
Sure thing, yeah. So you will need to create an account for VideoAsk. It's not possible right now to kind of go through Typeform and have like a VideoAsk section from Typeform. They are two separate accounts, but you can use your Typeform login details to set up the account. And you can also get a discount as a Typeform user. So I would definitely recommend, if you are thinking about signing up, to get in touch with the support team so that we can get you that discount.
Cool, sounds good. A question that's coming up a few times is to do with emails. Salvatore, for example, asked this. How can VideoAsk be integrated with email?
I guess it depends. Excuse me. I think it depends a little bit in terms of what you mean by integrating with email. So at the beginning of the presentation, we showed how you can insert a VideoAsk into an email. So I guess maybe that answers your question in terms of putting a VideoAsk into an email. But if you're looking to build up your email list, so your subscription list, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. If you're doing that with HubSpot, you know, we mentioned the HubSpot integration. Let's say that you're managing your email list on MailChimp. What you could do is basically set up a Zap using Zapier, so that when somebody replies to your VideoAsk, their contact information is then added to that mailing list in MailChimp. So, I mean, if you want to share any more clarification in terms of what you're hoping to do with the email integration, I'm more than happy to discuss it. But I think for me, those are kind of the main two ways to look at it, is kind of, you know, inserting VideoAsks into emails or to newsletters, or creating those contacts for mailing lists.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks, Navit. The next one is more technical, I guess. So Karen's asking if it's better to shoot horizontally or vertically.
Grace?
I'm now thinking horizontal, vertical. It's better to shoot in portrait mode, but there are some different ways that you can play around with how you want the video to look, which you wouldn't have seen when Navit was doing the walkthrough with building the video, because she was using the Pexels libraries. But when you upload or record your own video onto VideoAsk, you can have the option to have it kind of full screen mode, or to fit the video so it looks more like a horizontal kind of widescreen image. So there's a couple of ways that you can play around with how it looks when you're building it.
Yeah, and there's one thing to keep in mind too is that VideoAsk will adapt for the device that it's being viewed on. It depends how you expect people to be viewing your VideoAsk, but you know, for that reason, if you shoot with like a full HD like landscape mode, it gives the most footage to work with. So, you know, depending on the device, it'll kind of like move like this a little bit. So there will be more or less of your footage visible, but it's definitely something that, you know, we would recommend giving it a few test runs before you really commit strongly to a video, because it does take a little bit of trial and error to get things fitting exactly how you like it.
Cool, great. Ready for more questions? There's loads of them coming in.
Yeah,
Chad is asking, what are the best use cases for VideoAsk versus a traditional Typeform?
That is a great question, Chad. So I think it really depends on what you would be using the forms for. I guess there's a couple of features that are built into Typeform that aren't built into VideoAsk and vice versa. So if you really need one of those features, say for what we can do with the chatbot, or say the calculator that you can get in Typeform, then I would recommend using that product. But if what you need is basically a form that can have conditional logic and multiple choice answers, etc., you could go either way. I think it depends in terms of who your audience is going to be. So are these going to be people that are more visually based? Maybe they're more like extroverted, or like they would really love to see that video, or if it's going to work well with your business. So I think any type of business where it's about relationships with people, VideoAsk is an awesome fit. But I would also say that, like, if you're just collecting a lot of data, for instance, then a Typeform or more traditional text-based format is going to make more sense. So I think this is a really big topic, and it's actually hopefully going to be a topic of a future webinar, because there's a lot of things that they can do to complement each other. And I think it really ultimately is going to depend on what your specific use case is and what your audience is, to kind of say what's going to be the best fit when.
Yeah, totally. And you're right. We're looking to plan more webinars like this. So yeah, these kind of questions are very good for informing that. And it's definitely something that we'd like to kind of illustrate with examples. We've got time for maybe a couple more. Just to point out, folks, I mean, keep your questions coming. If we don't get round to your question now, we'll be sharing the video in a community post. I'll mention this in a second, and we can use that opportunity to answer the unanswered questions then, or do our best anyway. A quick question from Natalia: are chatbots or transcripts available in Spanish or Portuguese, or I guess any other language?
Yes and no. So I'm really glad that you asked this. I did move so quickly when I was showing how we can build a VideoAsk that I did skip over this. So VideoAsk, like as an app, is only available in English, but if you're building a VideoAsk, we have, I think it's 12 now languages that you can use in your VideoAsk settings. So that will translate all of the interface, the text interface of the VideoAsk, which does include Spanish and Portuguese. And then in terms of a transcription language, so when you are receiving those responses back, if you receive videos that are in Spanish or Portuguese, or really almost any language under the sun, you can choose that in your VideoAsk settings. One thing to keep in mind as a tip is if you are going to be receiving video responses or audio responses back in a language other than English, is make sure you set that before you receive those responses back, or else it won't work well. But that won't work with our chatbot. Currently, the chatbot is only available in English, and that is a restriction of the AI technology that we're using, which is through Google. So as soon as they expand that service to include other languages, then we will as well.
Okay, sounds good. Let's have this one. So this is an interesting one. Could VideoAsk work as an LMS, i.e. to give qualifications based on answers? Have you come across this before, or do you think can you think of a way that this would work?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, Alex. So if from your question, I guess you're thinking that, like, almost as like people are going through and it's kind of like a quiz. So when they're giving their answers, then they're going to be routed a different way using logic, and that's going to help them learn. We've seen some people start to use it in this manner. I mean, it's definitely a good fit for a quiz. I mean, we do have conditional logic and advanced logic, so you can set all of that up. But I mean, as a dedicated LMS, I don't know. I mean, I think that it would kind of depend in terms of how you're going to display that on another platform. If it allows for, say, an iframe embed of a VideoAsk, if you're putting that directly onto your website. I mean, VideoAsk itself doesn't have a lot of the functionalities of a true LMS, but there's certain things that you can absolutely use it for. Definitely we've seen folks use it in I mean, in our remote learning setting, like we've had for the last year or two, it's a useful tool, and specifically say with like language learning courses, because there is that video element. So it allows you to, you know, test students using video, both in terms of what you're using to prompt them and to get that back. So we have definitely seen some of this, but I think, again, like we would need to know a few more specifics before I could say like, yes, this is totally going to work for you.
Good answer. Thank you very much, Navit. And I'm afraid people asking questions and all of you out there, we're going to wrap up the Q&A. One last question, actually, that's come through on LinkedIn that I wanted to ask. What's your secret for being so cool?
Well, I'm actually going to throw this one right back at you, because Ish is actually the person that we saw at the very beginning of our presentation. And I don't know what he does to be so cool, but I'm very grateful that we have a wonderful team here.
We do, yes. And that's a very humble answer, Navit. Cool. Well, let's wrap up. As I mentioned, I think we can address the rest of the questions because there's still a lot more to come that we've got through. So I'm just going to explain kind of what's going to happen next. Grace, have you still got control of the...
I do, yes.
If you could flick to the next slide. Okay, so obviously you've heard all about VideoAsk today and what its capabilities are. We encourage you to give it a try. You can sign up for free and try it out and have a play around. And obviously you can rewatch this this webinar or head to the Help Center for more information on there. And we will be running future webinars on this too. Please do fill in the survey and the video ask. So we'll be sending an email after this with a link to this. So let us know what you think about the webinar. Apologies for all the technical kerfuffle at the start. I mean, these things happen in live broadcasts. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed the content itself. I'm sure you did, because it was incredibly well presented and really, really interesting stuff. And watch the recording. So we're going to post the recording up on our community. So I'm just going to take an opportunity to show you this. So I'm going to share my screen, this one. So for those of you that don't know, Typeform has a community platform where basically you can come and discuss all things Typeform. In this case, we're talking about VideoAsk. So we're going to post the recording up on this post, which is being linked to in Hopin and the other channels on LinkedIn and YouTube. So tomorrow we'll pop up the recording and we'll answer any remaining questions, or we'll do our best in the next few days to get to the remaining questions in here. Just a heads up on the kind of things you can see in the Typeform community. So you can view kind of upcoming events that we've got coming up, and you can ask all sorts of questions to do with Typeform. And we have a VideoAsk section in here too. So feel free to come along and join in and ask us anyone. The community is full of folks like you that are discovering these tools and using them for their jobs. So use it and yeah, discover what's possible. So yeah, with that, I would like to give a very, very, very warm thank you to both of you for joining, and for the folks working hard behind the scenes as well. It's been a pleasure having you, and yeah, on behalf of the audience, I thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
No problem. See you all again soon. Okay, take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.